Matt, it sounds like Washington should be telling Chris Peterson, hey, you owe us one here. You need to come out of retirement. Did you not suggest this guy get the job? And you're obviously capable and competent, so we need you to come back.
Well, and in USC, there are some USC fans who are praying for Chris Peterson, but the thing is, Chris Peterson. This is a point of contention, but from my vantage point, it's clear that Chris Peterson never wanted the bright lights of Los Angeles,
Yeah.
just as he never wanted the fishbowl of scrutiny in Austin at the University of Texas. He didn't want the super duper pressure. Like at Washington, you have pressure, but it's nothing like what you have at USC or at Texas. Like Washington was as high as Peterson was willing to go. He never really had a desire. So some people think that USC could have been able to hire him. I never thought that was a legitimate possibility then. I don't think it's a legitimate possibility now. It's interesting though that how people cling to the belief or the hope that Chris Peterson is attainable. So with Washington, in terms of a list of candidates, one name that's been floated is Justin Wilcox. Whoa, what are we looking at in Berkeley with Cal? Like, if you're Washington, you want to place confidence in Justin Wilcox. I mean, I know that he used to coach there, and I know that he's from the Chris Peterson coaching tree, but like USC's made this mistake before. USC made bad hires because the Pete Carroll coaching tree was so important. Hired Lane Kiffin, hired Steve Sarkisian. Those things blew up in USC's face. So if Washington just wants the Chris Peterson coaching tree philosophy for a hire, that's misguided. You need to have the right guy for the right moment. You need to have a guy with a good approach. Justin Wilcox's offenses at Cal haven't been anything special, to say the least. Washington really needs, in my mind, an offense-first coach because you've seen how bad the offense is. Oregon hand-delivered Washington 9 of its 16 points with a safety and also an interception that was returned to the Oregon 7. Basically, those are defensive points. Washington's offense scored just 7 points, smothered once again. Washington needs an offense-first philosophy, in part because it's recruiting. You might be aware that Washington's recruiting has cratered in recent years, and a lot of that is Washington can't retain skill position talent in Washington State, in the Northwest, much as USC and Clay Helton failed to lock down elite quarterbacks and skill people in Los Angeles and in Southern California. So Washington really needs an offense-first coach. I mean, I know that Billy Napier would like to get into the SEC in terms of his big jump up in the coaching world. That's where he'd prefer to go. But maybe, if we have open jobs at LSU in Florida and they're taken by Mel Tucker, let's say Mel Tucker goes to Baton Rouge and James Franklin goes to Gainesville, maybe Billy Napier says, you know what, I still want that SEC job, 5-6 years down the line, but maybe Washington's where I plant my flag at a better job. And let's remember, he was an assistant at Arizona State, so he knows the Pac-12 recruiting landscape reasonably well. I mean, that's not an insane idea that Washington could end up with Billy Napier, assuming that it fires Jimmy Lake.
The coaching carousel is not stopping anytime soon, of course. It's only expanding as there are openings all over the place that we have been discussing with Matt for a number of weeks. USC, LSU, TCU, Texas Tech, and now Washington soon to be in the mix, we believe. Florida, Dan Mullen made changes, forced changes, but if he doesn't, I don't know what he needs to do, but they've lost a 5th game, embarrassingly, against South Carolina now to drop to 4-5, and they're not a shoo-in any longer to beat the likes of Mizzou and Florida State. Dan Mullen may be out of a job, and as you mentioned, Florida could be another destination for a top-line coach like a James Franklin or somebody else.